Alright, let's get this live stream rolling. It is, what day is it? The 21st of November in the year of the Lord 2025. And I didn't get to do one of these this week just because when I'm in music production mode, especially when I'm rolling on vocals, I want vocals to keep happening. And that's where we've been at in the process, is working on vocals for this new song. And I wanted to get you a little bit acquainted with that riff. If you've watched some of the live streams before, you know that you've heard some of the music production stuff I do. You've heard some of that song in the making. And so I just thought I'd play a little for you because we're doing the live stream. We're doing our thing. The long form videos on YouTube have been doing pretty good. I've been getting some subs off old videos, which is cool. If you happen to jump on the live stream tonight, please get in the chat, hit the like button, hit subscribe, holler at me in the chat. Tell me about what's new in your studio. What are you working on? Do you have any new gear? Stuff like that. I like to hear all that stuff, and we'll get a little conversation going. I'm going to talk about a little bit of music news in this. I'm going to play some music for you in this. And we're just going to, keep this music focused and do it like we do, baby. So one thing that I'm very excited about, because I watched it originally 30 years ago. I think, 30 years ago, is the new remake of the Beatles anthology. So I think some stuff like the CDs have been remastered. They're coming out this week as well. Somewhere on VHS, I have the original Beatles anthology. It was like, I guess it was on Thanksgiving or Christmas in '95. I think it was Thanksgiving. That's why they're doing it now. And it was like a 3-day event, and that's how they're doing it this time too. And it was very cool. I remember watching part of it over at my grandma's house. R.I.P. Nanny, miss her very much. And it was just a cool thing. It was an event, man. And at that time in the 90s, grunge was happening, and some kind of the Dead was still happening, or it had just ended with Jerry, but Deadheads and all the hippie thing was very much still a movement. Very cool. And so the Beatles anthology was a big event. I feel like it's not as big of an event this time, but for us music people, it's definitely a big event. Like, I love the Beatles, man. I love the Stones and the Beatles. Over there, my newest amp acquisition, but it's a few years old now. I got it at at an estate sale is a 68 twin reverb. It's got a JBL in it, just like the amp used on the Beatles' Get Back by George and John Lennon. The amp they both played through, they were brand new at the time. You know, it's a 19. Really, all the date codes in it are 67, but they say the silver face, like the drip edge, didn't come out till 68 or late 67. I think that's a very early one. So if you know about those amps, they're really, even though there's a silver panel, they're not like the later 70s silver panel. They're exactly like the same circuit, same internal circuit and guts as the Blackface, very revered Fender amps too. Um, so that's something I'm excited about with music. I thought maybe since I played it on guitar, I thought I'd also play you what this song is sounding like. I'm not gonna play the vocal because I don't like to play the vocal, the full mix with the vocal, and it's not completely done. I've got two verses and a chorus done. Actually, I've got two separate like save as two separate save tracks with different choruses, and I'm it's got doubles on it and like harmony parts, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with, and I think I've made that decision, but I have to track another chorus because I don't work in a way. Usually, I don't just copy and paste like the same chorus. I want everything, even if it's the same words, I want it to have a different feel. And I like to do a lot of these production type of things here on the channel. I hope some people would get in the live stream. I hope YouTube suggests this. You can't make them do anything though, but people usually go back and watch. Some of my subscribers and just people that see the thumbnail will usually go back and watch these later. So if that is you, I do have the chat replay activated. So if you see it tonight and you leave me a comment in the chat, the people will see it on the replay. But let's listen. Let's listen to some of this this new song that we've been working on. I'm just gonna play the music, not the vocal, but it's very cool. I think it's a great rock riff. It sounds like I want it to sound. So let's jam that real quick. All right, so that's a big part of the song. Then it goes into another bridge that's totally different part. Cool, like change in tempo, change in feel that I dig a lot. And but I'm really proud of that drum sound. And that was my first rough mix, man. And I did the only thing I changed on that is I raised the fuzz side guitar maybe a half a dB just so it would come through a little clearer because that just distortion side guitar track through the Mesa is really hitting hard, and I feel like the fuzz that I did through the Twin wasn't quite as loud, so we boosted that up a little bit. But the mix that's going to come out is the same as that rough mix right there. And like I said, I always take things out to the car, and the first time I took that out to the car, I was mixing on my speakers in here. A lot of times I'll get things going more on headphones and very quickly listen on the speakers and not take enough time with it. This time I was listening on the monitors, pretty much through the whole tracking process, and I was really happy with what I took out to the car. So only very minor change to it, and the drum sound I love. I did get the drums uh, a little bit crunchier than that for the mix I'm working on too. That's the only two changes from the rough mix, but it's not really affecting the level. It's just kind of making them feel like they're hitting harder. And if you're into music production, there's ways to do this without actually bumping up the level, but it feels like a level bump because of what you're doing. You can do it with limiters, you can do it with parallel compression, you can do it with saturation. There's lots of ways to do these things to get more level out of your song, more perceived level, but not actually raise the volume. Sometimes it even lowers the volume, but it makes them feel more, makes them cut through more in the track and feel bigger, sometimes even reducing the volume. So that's the kind of stuff we like to talk about on the channel. And when we roll out, when we sign off for the evening, I'll play you like one of my newer songs that I've done along with the music video, so you can check out some music that's up on the streaming services. So if you go to any of the streaming services, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Deezer, anywhere you go for music, Amazon Music. If you got Prime, you probably have Amazon Music. All my music's up there. Just type in Thirsty Deer, and then you'll see a list of song titles. Like the newest one is Don't Be Precious and Save Your Dose. I put both those out. This is going to be the third song I put out this month. So we're working at a pretty good rate around here. I don't have a lot of songs banked up and, ready to release every week, which is a very good strategy. I've been watching some videos about strategy, and I want to get into talking about on this live stream music work together with other people as a collaboration versus doing it all yourself in, solo. There's benefits to this, like monetarily, you get 100% of your money that way. And for people like Russ, like Nick D, I posted a little thing before this talking about Russ and Nick D because they've got a lot of tracks out that they're 100% on, and it's big money. I love Russ. I was jamming Losing Control a long time ago, and I really dig what they do. Here we do a little bit different thing. I play, all the instruments myself. Like you heard those drums hitting real hard. That's those drums. No sample augmentation or anything like that. I just mix the drums how I want them to sound, and they're really good drums, and this room sounds great, and I can get them to do what I want because I've been engineering for a long time, and that's just what you learn to do, right? Make your music sound like you want it to sound. So if you need, if you have any questions about music production, shoot them to me in the chat. Shoot them to me on any of the comment sections on any of the videos, and I'm very happy to share all the things I know about music production. I did a new video. It's been about 2 weeks, but the title of it was "Do Not Buy Outboard Gear Until You Watch This Video," and but in that I got very deep into talking about getting your template together and ways you can get your music sounding good as you're tracking, so you don't have to spend a lot of time just trying to get sounds, and you can keep your workflow going, keep it moving. If you're a multi-instrumentalist like me and you play your guitar part, a lot of times you want to jump right over to the bass and not have to fuck with the guitar a lot, the guitar sound, once you have it playing through your microphones or your amp sim, however you do it. And so that type of thing is very important, because the last thing you want to do is slow down your creativity or put the brakes on to an idea that's flowing because you're trying to make a sound. Sometimes, when we're new to this, you'll play in a part and play it back and it'll have no energy. You won't even hardly be able to hear it, and it's like, what's going on? The tendency is to raise that fader way up, and then you get into clipping and things not sounding good because there's not enough headroom, and there's just a lot of ways to get things going right from the start, especially if you're building a template. You can have those tracks already ready to go with what you need on there. So if you just play a part through your amp, like I keep everything mic'd up for the most part. I do have to patch in preamps because I've got a limited number of like really good preamps down here, and I move those around, but the mics pretty much stay where they are. This mic will move over to the drums when I'm ready to track drums, but I use this for room sounds a lot. This is my lead vocal mic for now. I really like this mic, but I'm thinking about getting another large diaphragm condenser just to have a different flavor. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with music. I got an email this week from DistroKid. So DistroKid is who a lot of us put our music out through, and it said there's a $2. I think it's going from $23.99 to $25.99 price increase for like the basic artist package. Which what that lets you do, it's not a lot of frills to that one, but it lets you put out under one artist name. If you've got multiple bands or like a solo project in a band, you're only going to be able to do one of them for this price. And it's probably across the board for all their plans. I'd say there's a price increase, but I'm not sure. It just told me about my plan. So I just put things out under Thirsty Deer. That's the artist name. That's my music, and so it's going up $2, which isn't really a big deal, but it kind of is because we're not making shit off streaming. They don't want to cut us in on the profits anymore, and I do realize that's the DSPs, that's Spotify, that's Apple Music, that's YouTube Music, that's all of them. They don't want to kick down any more money, but they want to get more money for us to put out our music. And I've been seeing a lot of people leaving either DistroKid or however they get their music on the streaming services and just jumping over to Bandcamp or putting out actual physical copies of their music. I know, watch a lot of YouTubers in Nashville, and there's a company down there called Baked Alaska that will do records and put them out vinyl. And a lot of people are doing Bandcamp, SoundCloud, those type things. But I know I haven't been on Bandcamp or SoundCloud for a long time, but when I used to get on those places, you would hear a lot of music that sounded more like demos, not quite professional sounding stuff with the correct loudness, and it didn't sound like it really been mastered. So that, maybe things have changed, but that's really not where I want my music to be. I want it to be with other big label releases. Even though I'm an indie artist doing the indie thing, I feel like my music competes sonically with those big label releases, and a lot of people are making music that competes sonically with big label releases. That's why the A&R people at the music companies, at the record labels, aren't really chasing down artists except on social media, because they know that artists can already generate their own promotion and get eyes on them if they're willing to work hard enough. Like, I think I work hard enough. I put out a lot of videos. I put out a lot of songs. But there's other factors involved. There's promotion. There's paid promotion. There's, just building a grassroots thing through doing shows. And shows really isn't an option for me right now. For one thing, I don't have a band. And I've been, like that song, I could really get up on stage and do that myself with just a drum track going, or the drum and bass tracks going, play all the guitar and sing it myself. But it's not really how I want to work. And I have a little boy who's asleep in that back room right now, and I don't really want to be away from him. And, it's not like I could just go out and pick up a show tonight. There's a lot of work to, people have to hear your music. You've got to be in their ear and, you know, get a gig, you know. Um, and the way I like to work is to work in this studio, make what I want to make it sound good, you know. I'll get on and play acoustic guitar sometimes, or play like I played in the beginning of this. Um, but a lot of times I'm short on time, and when I'm working in the studio, I can get the idea like I want it down. I don't have like I just got my son to bed 10 minutes ago. I didn't have any time to warm up on guitar. I know that guitar part from my song because it's my song, right? And so that's the type of work that interests me, and the type of work that interests a lot of people right now. A lot of people are doing the thing all by themselves, solo. And another point that I wanted to make with this is because it's something I've thought for a long time, but I've been hearing more people talk about it lately on YouTube. And that is like if you hear the Nashville guys, all those guys, guitar player guys, like that go on Brett Papa's channel and all this, they all are pretty hardcore about collaboration, having a band in the room. And they think that, peaks the most creativity. It's the most inspiring way to do things. And I'm not saying it's not inspiring, but there is a level of having your idea watered down that comes with that, right? Because everybody's inputting on these ideas. And when I make a track in here, or I heard Russ talk about it, that his biggest songs were all the ones that he did himself, by himself. And I think there's an aspect of your creativity could kind of be watered down, and you've got, at very least, you have a lot of ideas inputting information on to what you're trying to do, if it's your project. And if it's not your project, it doesn't matter anyway. The session guys, I'm working on a video about this right now. The session guys, most of the time, are making music for other people when they're getting paid. And I think the best job in music right now is being an independent artist, making the music you want to make. And it's not really just because that's what I'm doing. It's because I got into music to make my ideas, right? I started learning guitar, playing cover songs and whatever, but it was always, always the focus was to make my own music and say what I had to say, both lyrically and musically. And, it's like two pieces of the puzzle that fit together there, where you can say things with instruments and like say things with guitar and melody and harmony. Where that leaves off with the instruments, then you pick up and you can finish that sentence with the lyrics and the vocals and songwriting. And it really, it's for me, when I started putting out like some instrumentals, when I first started really getting into recording and was a little self-conscious about putting my voice out there. When I was putting out instrumentals, it was like not a full statement of what I wanted to say, right? And so it left me very empty feeling just putting out instrumentals. And then that quickly went away when I started doing vocals. I, I think in the beginning everybody's a little self-conscious about hearing their voice recorded, even if you played like campfire songs and sung a lot and are pretty comfortable with how you think your voice sounds. Once you actually start recording it and hearing it, especially if you're not a great mixer yet, you don't know how to get your voice sounding right in the track. And now I'm very happy with my voice. I can take a very raw vocal track just done through this microphone into a good mic preamp and an 1176 compressor, and I can make it sound like, it fits in that track perfectly. I don't tune my vocals usually. There's some songs where I might have tuned one or two words, But I try to avoid that because there's always artifacts in there and they make your voice sound different. And I like the way I capture things without having those artifacts in there. And I think auto tune, I use a thing called Waves Tune real time or just Waves Tune. You don't have to use the real time part of it. But it it definitely has some little artifacts, and it's a pretty good sounding one. You don't notice it really if you're just tuning a word or something. But on my last couple of releases, including this one I'm working on right now, there's no vocal tuning in that because once you learn how to mix, you can fix a lot of those like pitchy things just by getting your levels right. It sounds lot less pitchy, a lot more like it fits in the track when it's mixed right. So it's all things to think about, but definitely I feel like collaboration is cool. Like I would love to, have a band in here tracking with me. But really, the way things work in a studio is you're just getting sometimes just the drums, even if all the instruments are playing on that basic track. Most of the time, people go back and overdub guitars, and sometimes just keep the drums or keep the bass and drums because you've got a DI usually going for the bass guitar. And so it's really ending up the same way, recording the same way as I do here, because most of that shit is getting overdubbed anyway. And there is an energy with having a band in the room, and sometimes you can get it all in one take and then just go back but you still have to overdub the vocals later because of bleed, things like this. Um, so there's not as big of difference as people like to think there is about the actual recording process from having a band in the room to doing it all yourself and overdubbing everything because most of the time the stuff gets overdubbed anyway because people want clarity and separation and minimal bleed. Some bleed is good, don't get me wrong. I love bleed, I love room mics, but you have to be very careful with bleed. Room mics, you can kind of go crazy, but you have to watch cymbals. There's a lot to it. Just a few other things I wanted to talk about with music news. We were doing these live streams, keeping them about an hour. We're at 30 minutes right now. We might go the full hour because I do want to play another track. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We'll probably do another live stream this week. I'm off work all week. So I'm trying to get this project finished, and I'm trying to do another YouTube video, non-live video that's an edited video. I'm working on that one right now about how I have and how this is the best gig in music. Doing things independently and being able to say what you want to say and not have to have any pressure or any direction in the way you go, just being totally free with your music. And that's also for the most part free is the pay you're getting too. Um, but things can blow up. My first song just made a playlist. Don't Be Precious got playlisted. Got a couple more ears on the song, which was cool. I wish I could get them all playlisted, but it's just like you have to put it out on the right day is one thing that you learn. And then, still a lot of music gets released every day, especially on that day. So you never know if things are going to get playlisted. One thing I probably should have talked about at the very top of this, I had some things I wanted to say about, collaboration versus solo working together, and I wanted to play a little guitar, but I want to say rest in peace, Todd Snyder. Todd Snyder is a very cool artist, kind of a Nashville legend. If you haven't watched Otis Gibbs' channel, go watch Otis Gibbs. He was friends with Todd, and he's done some really great videos with Todd Snyder. He's a very cool artist, and it's very much along these lines of independent. He had a record deal for a while, but the thing he always depended on was being able to bust and make money just playing out on the street. And he had big gigs, and he's got albums out, and a lot of people know Todd Snyder. Trey from Fish wrote a post about Todd when he passed away. A lot of people know Todd Snyder. Think like, uh, you know, a folk artist like Dylan or Woody Guthrie, but modern and just great songs, man. Todd Snyder always had something to say, and he was a very funny guy, um, very humble guy. If you saw him on the street, you'd probably think he was homeless. He went around with no shoes a lot of the time, flowers in his hat, and an East Nashville legend. Um, and it's a very sad loss. There's some controversy and stuff happening with all of it because he was in Salt Lake City on tour, and like 2 weeks before he died, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a post that Todd had been assaulted and beaten up, and was in the hospital. And then shortly after that, it came out that there was an arrest warrant for Todd for, you know, I guess going off and threatening people in this hospital, which it all seemed very strange. And then the next thing you know, there's a post. I saw it on Facebook. Pray for Todd because he's in the hospital with pneumonia, and it was like, this is really weird. All these things coming out. All of it seemed very, just like you didn't know what to believe. And then the next day after I saw that post on Facebook about pray for Todd, he's in the hospital with pneumonia, he was gone the next day. Very sad. Just a lot of questions, I guess. But rest in peace, Todd Snyder. Also, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was last week or the week before. Inductees include the White Stripes and Soundgarden. Those are the two biggest for me. Soundgarden and Jack White. Jack White and Chris Cornell. Just absolute legends in the game. Great music, man. The kind of music I love. And the rock and roll. Also, Warren Zevon. He's one of those artists that's like, a lot of people have a problem with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because a lot of artists that probably should be in there aren't, and a lot of artists that shouldn't be in there are. And Warren Zevon's one of those ones that probably should have been in a long time ago and didn't get in till now. He died back in, I think, 2005 or 3. Posthumously he gets in there. And it's always good to see David Letterman. David Letterman was great friends with Warren Zevon. I remember when Warren was sick, I remember watching him on David Letterman. He came on and played music and talked, and everybody knew that he had this, like, I think it's mesothelioma type of cancer from asbestos. You know, Once you get to a certain age, it's like, it really feels like I'm reliving all these things again. You know, like the Beatles anthology thing back around again, and it was huge the first time. Warren Zevon thing, I remember watching it with my girlfriend at the time. And we were kind of living a crazy life too, and that was all happening with Warren Zevon, and it was like, I don't know, it just sticks out in a certain way. Um, and then, you know, uh, like Todd Snyder passing away, it's just a sad thing. Hold on just a minute because I'm going to turn off my heat. It just kicked on, and this microphone will pick it up. I always try to remember to cut that off before the live stream, but I forgot this time because I was just in a hurry. It'll cut off here in a minute. And I do have like an expander on, so hopefully not too much of that gets picked up, but it will when I'm talking, right? You can put on an expander in OBS. If you've got any questions about live streaming, shoot them in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later. I can help you get started with that if you want to stream. And I'm talking about like streaming pro sounding audio like we do here, you know, where we can play music and instruments. But that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. A lot of times I'll do like this day in the history of music, but you know, it's Friday night. There's been like no clicks on this video, so YouTube isn't really pushing it with the algorithm, or it would get at least a couple clicks. So we're gonna wrap this up with the song because I'm gonna get back into my session and maybe track the last chorus on this song tonight because I'm hype about this song and I want to get it rolling, and I want to do a lot of vocal layers on it. And since nobody's on here right now, and we're getting close to well, we're about 20 minutes. We're at about 40 minutes, so about 20 minutes from the hour. And you know, sometimes shorter is better with YouTube. So I'm gonna play a song for you with the video so you can see how I work in the studio too. It's called "Don't Be Precious." It's a great sounding song, man. You put that thing on like on Apple Music where things are lossless, or even, you know, if you've got YouTube Music, put that shit on in your car and it sounds good, you know. To not have any samples, I really get the kick drum hitting and the bass, and you know, there's ways to do these things that I get really excited about showing people because it took me a while to learn to mix like this and get these sounds. And I'm very proud of the fact that there's no sample augmentation. I just get these sounds the way I play them. You know, there's edits in there occasionally, but being able to get the sounds the way you play them really makes you feel good about spending the money on a little bit of gear, and about you know, putting in the time when you know what you played is going along with the mixing to make something that sounds like everything else that people listen to. And it's just a cool thing. Something that I'm very proud of is getting my own drum sounds, because most people are not. Most people are using, you know, Superior Drummer or something like that. Or if they are playing their real drums, then they're augmenting things with samples to get that bigness. And really, they don't have to. If they knew how to mix these tracks and knew how to mic things up, knew how to hit the room mics with compressors the right way, they could get the drum sounds they wanted. But you know, people were doing a lot of this themselves, and I'm in the same boat in a lot of ways. I have very limited time to work on music. I work a 40-hour week job. The rest of the time, I'm a single dad. I have my son 100% of the time, except when I'm at work, and then my mom's watching him, and I come straight home to him. You know, but I make the time for the music. You know, I get up very early in the morning to go to work, but still stay up very late, especially when I was first learning to do all this. You know, I would stay up all night working on something, trying to learn it and get it right. And I've been doing this a long time on and off, because actually I started doing things with recording music when I was in college in 1999. I was in a recording class and we were like miking up the orchestra at the school, and you know, recording with ADATs. And so it's been a long process, but I didn't have a home studio till like 2021, and then I dove in, you know, really dove in, and I dove in on the YouTube channel. A lot of those videos aren't up there no more because you know, I didn't have the lighting right. They're not really saying what I want them to say now. But a lot of people are going back and watching some of the older videos, and I'm getting subscribers off those, so that's cool too, you know. Um, but let's play "Don't Be Precious." Everybody have a great Thanksgiving, great holiday. Spend it with family. Keep them close. It's a crazy world. A lot of non-empathy in the world, and you know, a lot of selfishness in the world. Just a lot of shit I don't understand, but it doesn't matter because when you're when you're at home, when you're where you feel peace, when you're with family, that's where we go to. And that's why another reason I love to make music at home because I can do it my way and it feels great to do it here. So this is Don't Be Precious, and I'll put the video up too. Yeah, here we go. All right, y'all ready? Have a good night, a good weekend, and a good Thanksgiving. We'll see you real soon with a long form video with some new music and with some more live streams.